So now let's understand some of the features of Git. What makes Git so special and why a lot of people are using Git, and also a lot of hosting services are coming forward to host the Git repositories, right? So in this video it's only theoretical knowledge, so we'll get hands-on in the next video. Stay tuned and subscribe to the channel so you watch the entire playlist to get a better understanding of Git. So what is branching, right? Let's say A is working on a repo, contributor A, and this is his local copy. Let's call it LC, local copy, or rather clone. So let's say A wants to make certain changes to this repo, and he wants to make those changes, and he don't know exactly whether those changes are right or not wrong, right? So there will be some reviewer who will review those changes. So let's not get into that much. So in simple terms, he creates another copy of this repo in his local again, and he calls it as branch A. So let's say the repo name is P, so this will be P1. And similarly, you can create multiple branches. So let's say P1 is related to certain feature 1, and P2 can be related to another feature 2. So you can work on these changes independently. So that's what we call it as branching. That means he takes this particular repo and creates one more copy of that. He can make changes in this copy, and whenever he is done making the changes, he can basically go and merge these changes to his local repository, right? So this is what is branching about. So advantages of branching: you don't need to make all the changes. If you are not sure, you can always go and delete that branch, or maybe create a new branch and start your work again, right? You will definitely avoid messing up your repository with all the changes that you commit. So instead of directly committing your changes to the main repo, you create a copy of that and basically call it as a branch, and then make those changes on top of the branch, and then go and merge it to your local repository. So that is what branching is about. Coming to the second one, since all the operations in Git are local, since most of the times Git operations are local, unless you are taking a latest pull from the remote repository or pushing your changes to the remote repository, all the changes are local, all the operations rather are local and fast. So there are multiple other source control management tools apart from Git, but Git is the market leader today. Since all the operations are performed locally, it gives advantage over client server architecture of maintaining source code management. So all the Git operations are local. That's what makes it quick, performance oriented, and also very efficient. You don't need internet connection basically, right, to make any changes. And next important aspect is data assurance. That means whenever there is a repository R, and if a lot of people are contributing to this repository, all these changes are having a checksum pass. So what is checksum? Checksum is basically in context of Git, it takes the file details, the author details, and the timestamp, and it creates a cryptographic hash using the SHA algorithm, and it creates a commit ID out of it. So each and every commit is very unique, and all the commits will be tracked. So that way it maintains the integrity of all the changes done by each and every individual or each and every contributor, because you cannot go and override any commit that is done by A, because it turns out to be a new commit, right? It turns out, let's say A has done some commit C1, and this is the commit ID, let's say, and if you want to do any change, so you cannot go and override changes done by A. Basically, you cannot override this commit C1 with this commit ID. If at all you want to override this commit, it has to be a new commit with some other ID. Since Git is free, absolutely free and open sourced. So Git is developed by that same team who has developed Linux OS. All you need to do is go to git scm wiseman.content.com and download the Git for your Mac, Windows or Linux machines. So it's absolutely free to use. The next important feature that Git provides is, I was talking about something called Git add. So Git provides this staging capability. That means, let's say you have modified files 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of these 5 files, you want to only go and save these 3 files, or rather commit these 3 files. So before committing, there is a stage area. There is a stage. Before actually you go and commit these files, you first have to stage these files, what exactly needs to be committed. So that gives you flexibility as to, even though you're working on 5 different files, you can only go and commit 3 files, and you know that these 2 files are not yet committed, and you can go and commit it in your next commit. So let's say these 3 files are your commit 1, so other 2 files can be your commit 2. So it provides this staging capability, which gives you more flexibility as to how many files you want to commit at one shot. Also, you might not end up missing any file which is untracked or not being committed, because you know exactly when you do git status, it will tell you how many files are in staging, number of files in staging, and number of files not in staging. So that gives you better understanding as to how many files you actually committed and how many files you are not committed. So this is another important useful feature of Git which you might want to know. So that's all about Git features.